Hello everyone, welcome back or welcome to my channel. My name is Kenziedegall. I am a fantasy writer pursuing traditional publishing, and today I have a little mid-year writing goals check-in video for you because we are halfway through 2025, and at the beginning of the year I set a bunch of goals for myself. I set 10 writing related goals for myself to complete over the course of the year. And then to accomplish those goals, I've also been setting quarterly goals to kind of break those big goals up into more manageable chunks. So today we're going to talk about my yearly goals, how I'm doing on each of those now that we are halfway through the year. And also I'm going to talk about my Q2 goals, what I did, what I didn't do, and set some goals for Q3. So grab yourself a nice drink, sit down, get cozy, and let's do a little mid-year check-in. So starting out with my yearly goals, like I said before, I set 10 goals for the year, 10 writing related goals for the year. I like to set goals for myself, and so I went a little bit crazy with my goals. I have a whole video about my yearly goals if you want to watch that, but I will be covering everything in this video, so there's no need to watch that. But we'll just start with number 1 on the list, and that goal was to track my writing word counts and writing time. I kind of just wanted to get some more insight into how my time is spent, especially between drafting and editing and brainstorming. Like, how much work can I get done in a certain amount of time? How much time I'm spending on certain projects or on certain phases. Like with editing, which I have just started doing revisions for my current project, Project Calliope. Editing takes a lot of time, but there isn't necessarily a big word count reflection with that. At least for me so far in the editing process, I have noticed that where I might have got 1,000 or 2,000 words in a session, in that same amount of time with editing, I am getting 200 words, maybe like 400 words. It's a very big difference between drafting and revising, and so I'm really enjoying the process of tracking my word count and time, and I'm enjoying seeing the statistics that come out of that. It's interesting to me. I have been doing this through the year, but I'm not going to count this as a complete goal until the end of the year because I would like to have a full year of tracking. I don't know if I'll necessarily continue to track after this year, but certainly for the rest of this year, I would really like to see that insight because I am in a very interesting part of my writing journey. I am revising the book that I'm hoping to get published as my debut. I don't know, this information is pretty interesting to me, so I'm glad that I have committed to collecting all of it. Goal 2 for 2025 was to finish Project Mutiny Draft 2, and this goal is done. I actually ended up getting a printed bound copy of this draft because this is just something that I like to do for myself when I finish a draft, get the copy in my hands and be able to, I don't know, just look at all of the work that I have put into this project. It's really motivating for me, especially getting to the end of a draft and getting to order my copies. I think it's really fun, and it's a good way to kind of mark the milestones that go towards getting traditionally published. At least for me, it's a little hard to recognize my achievements and see how much work I've put into getting towards traditional publication. So this is just something that I like to do, print out these copies and be able to hold them in my hands. And then I have a shelf, you can't see it, but I have a shelf over here with all of my drafts that I've done before. It's just kind of a fun little tradition that I have for myself. Project Mutiny Draft 2 was unfinished at the beginning of this year. It was partially started, I think, in 2023. I wrote the bulk of it in 2023, and then it went untouched for most of 2024. And then I finally decided that I wanted to close that chapter. I don't know what I'm doing with that project. It's a weird project for me. I'm still trying to figure out what I want to do with it. At the very least, it's going to be a long time until I return to working on it. So I really just wanted to close the door on draft 2 and finally be done with that and not have to think about Project Mutiny for a while. And I finished that in the end of January is when I finished that draft. Yeah, I finished it a long time ago, and I will say it has been very, very nice to have that off my plate. I don't know, it's a weird project, and I just wanted to be done with that chapter for now. The next goal that I had was to write Project Calliope Draft 2, and this is another one that is done. I finished Draft 2 on April 30th, so it has been done for a little while now, and I am super excited for the future of that project. If you don't know, Project Calliope is my main work in progress. It is a gothic fantasy, and it is the one that I'm hoping to debut with. I'm currently preparing it for querying. Hopefully I'll be able to get that ready to go by the end of the year, and so a lot of my goals and efforts for this year have been focused on preparing Project Calliope for that and getting it ready to be in a more publishable state. I know that there's definitely more rounds of edits that you do with your agent and with your editor that I'm sure Project Calliope will also go through, but I'm just trying to get it to the most polished state that I can get it into on my own, and that's what a lot of this year is focused on for me. Again, another one that I'm very happy to have that done. I'm so excited for the future of Project Calliope. I have very high hopes for it, and I am just having so much fun sharing all of that with you. Goal number 4 this year was to write Project Calliope Draft 3, since I have just finished Project Calliope Draft 2, and I am working on it. So this isn't a completed goal yet, but this is something that I have already started and that I am hard at work on. I am having so much fun with the editing process. It is not something that I've ever done before. I've done complete rewrites of books, like Project Mutiny Draft 2 and Project Calliope Draft 2 were both complete rewrites of the original draft, but I've never done this kind of style of revision before, where you go through with the same work that you already had and just make edits to it. So this process has been super fun. I'm really excited to finish up this draft and move on with this project. I don't know, Project Calliope is just such an exciting project for me, so this is really fun, and I'm excited to continue sharing my process with it. So then goal 5 for this year was to send Project Calliope 2 or 3 to beta readers. So I sent draft 2 to beta readers. I sent draft 2 to my sister. She is currently reading through it, which is really exciting. I'm not sure what I'm gonna do for 3. I might just send it to my sister again. We'll have to see. I would count this as like half done. I'm not gonna count it all the way done until later, but I think this is about half done. And then my 6th goal for 2025 is to do an aggressive read through of Project Calliope Draft 3. So the idea with this one is that once Draft 3 was completed, I wanted to go in and do a really intense read through of the draft and try and find every possible flaw in it that I could, just to get it the most query ready that I can. I'm hoping to do 4 drafts on this project. Now that I'm working on draft 3, I feel like that's pretty attainable, and I think that doing an aggressive read on draft 3 once it's completed, to do like a lot of the line editing work, but also to catch any last minute like plot holes or developmental changes that need to be done, I think it would really help the novel. And so I am still planning to do that, but I technically have done this for draft 2 also. I printed out a copy of draft 2. I don't have it next to me, but once I got it, I decided to kind of read through and make a couple notes, mostly on plot things, but once I got started, I got a little too excited and I came up with a whole revision system on my note-taking, on how I was gonna approach revisions. I have a whole video about it if you want to check that out. I technically have done this for draft 2. Even though it wasn't initially a goal, I have done it, and it was a very fun process, so I'm excited to do it again for draft 3. My 7th goal for 2025 was to plan the Project Calliope sequel. So I am probably naively hoping that this book can have a sequel. I'm not gonna get too into that, but it's my hope that I can write a sequel for this book, and so I thought that it would be a good idea to kind of plan out the sequel to understand how the plot wraps up, how these kind of loose ends from book 1 follow through and then are tied off, and also so that I would have a good idea of almost foreshadowing things to do. This one is half done. I started this, but I didn't finish it. I kind of did a really loose beat by beat kind of outline, just giving the most bare bones idea of what happens, and I think I got what I needed to out of it. I know how this story is going to wrap up, how everything is going to go, basically, and so I don't really think that I need to fully outline to the extent of my normal outlines until I'm sure that I can write a second book, that I will be able to sell and publish a second book for this. My outlines get to like 10,000 plus words. I really like plotting ahead of time, and so I don't want to put in all of that effort and work into an outline until I'm sure that it is time to write the book, if that makes sense. Like, I want to know that I will be able to write a second book before I go in and put in all of the work, especially because if I have to go in and rework Project Calliope to be a standalone, it would be a lot easier if I hadn't done all of the work for the sequel and if I had just done things for book one. So I think I'm gonna call this done, but it's kind of half done. My next goal for 2025 is to outline Project Saint. So Project Saint is the project that I would like to work on while I'm querying. I want to make sure to keep my mind as much off of the querying process as I can while I'm doing it, because I know it can be really stressful. And so I think it would be really good to dive headfirst into a new project, into drafting something fresh and brand new, kind of get swept away by a new world and new characters. And so I want to write the book that I'm hoping will get published after Project Calliope during that time. And so I think that I should go ahead and do the prep work now, get myself set up for success, and outline the book. This one, a full outline, like 10,000 plus words, however much it takes. I have super exciting plans for this book. I think it's gonna be a very me book, very in the style of my writing. And it's also a good contender for a potential debut if Project Calliope doesn't pan out, which fingers crossed that everything works out with that book. But I like to plan ahead and be safe. If it doesn't, I think Project Saint would be a good second option. So I would like to get some work done on that. I haven't started outlining this, so this isn't done, but I have been working on brainstorming a lot and doing a little bit of research. It's kind of going good. I need to step up my game a lot, but in terms of brainstorming, I am getting a lot of ideas and figuring out the characters in the world a lot more. My 9th goal for the year was to assemble a potential query list. So again, in preparation for querying, I wanted to just start collecting some names of agents who might be a good fit for me. Later down the line, I will definitely narrow it down, make sure that everyone actually is a good fit and that they're all open to submissions and everything. But I just kind of wanted to start assembling a little bit of a list so that I'm not totally lost when I'm ready to start querying. And I have been working on this. I still have some work to go. I think I have 17 possible agents, and I would like to have quite a few more than that. So I do have some work left, but I think it's going pretty good. And I'm really excited with some of the people on my list. And then the last goal that I set for myself for the year was to write 150,000 words. I am not there yet. I'm getting there, but I'm not quite there yet. Can't remember off the top of my head. I think I've written like 90,000 words maybe. I've been working on it, so I'm not really sure how this is gonna go for the rest of the year. Part of the words that I was banking on were Project Calliope Draft 2 being a little bit longer than it was, but it ended up being very short because I am an underwriter and I did write that from scratch. I don't know, we're gonna have to see if we can pull this one off. Project Saint brainstorming and outlining might come in handy for that, but I don't know. We'll have to see. Okay, so with that, we can move on to the goals that I set for quarter 2. Spoiler alert, I didn't do very good. I set 6 goals for myself. I only got half of them, I think. Not the best. I definitely could have worked a little bit harder, but it is what it is. Goal 1 for quarter 2 was to write 50,000 words. I did not do this one. Again, I don't know the exact number. I should have written it down. This is the number of words that I wrote in quarter 2. I feel like mostly because Project Calliope ended up being a little shorter than I expected, this just didn't really work out. So I didn't hit that 50K, but it is what it is. My second goal for quarter 2 was to finish Project Calliope Draft 2. Like I said earlier, this one is complete. It was finished on April 30th, so that is one of the goals that I finished for this quarter. Goal 3 for quarter 2 is hand in hand with the last one, and that was to print Project Calliope Draft 2. Again, I don't know where I put my copy, so I don't have it with me, but I did get it printed out, and so that goal is also done. Goal 4 for quarter 2 was to outline Project Calliope Book 2. And like we discussed earlier, that one is kind of done. I didn't really outline it, but I got enough out of it, I think. I don't know, that one's like a half point, I guess. Goal 5 was to write an edit letter for myself. This one I didn't really get. I planned to write like an edit letter like you would get from a professional editor with all of my feedback for myself and all of my edit notes and everything, but I did end up doing that read through instead of an edit letter, so I didn't technically make this goal, but I didn't do nothing. I don't know how to classify that one. Maybe another half point. And then the 6th goal for quarter 2 was to start draft 3, and that one is done. So on June 1st, I dove right into Project Calliope Draft 3. That was super, super exciting for me. I will have a video coming out soon about my first month-ish of working on this draft. It has been fun so far. I've been enjoying it. It is hard work, but it is fun work. So that one is done, and I'm very, very proud of that. Now we will move right along to the last part of this video, and that is my goals for quarter 3. So this quarter, I went a little bit easier on myself, I think, because so many of quarter 2's goals fell through. I only set 5 goals for myself instead of 6. Let's just get right into those. Goal 1 is to write 30,000 words. I count brainstorming, outlining, drafting, editing, anything where I'm putting words on a page, that counts in my book as written words. So 30,000 words in any project, in any format, will count towards this goal. So not too bad. I mostly decided to lower this because editing has a lot less words than drafting does. It's a lot harder to get to a high word count goal than it would be with drafting. So I'm trying to go a little bit easier on myself, and I definitely think that I can hit this goal. Goal 2 is to finish Project Calliope Draft 3. I kind of keep myself on strict schedules with my drafting and give myself deadlines that I try my hardest to stick to. And for Draft 3, I am aiming to get this done at the end of August. So I have the rest of July and then August, and that is not a lot of time. But I will hopefully be able to finish up Draft 3 in August. I feel like I can do it. It's been going. I need to pick up the pace. You'll see my video on it soon. Goal 3 for quarter 3 is to send Project Calliope Draft 3 to beta readers or beta reader. I most likely am gonna just send this to my sister again, but we'll see how things pan out. I might look into doing other beta readers. I'm not really sure yet. I'm pretty nervous about sharing my early work with other people, so we'll see how this one goes. Most likely I'm just gonna send it to my sister again, but stay tuned for that. Goal 4 is one that's kind of related to the yearly goals, and that is to do my aggressive read through of Draft 3. I still really want to do this, even though I did do it for Draft 2. I am super excited to do it for the 3rd draft, especially because I'm expecting Draft 3 to have a lot more words and a lot more content in it, and so I think there's gonna be a lot more to pick apart and perfect and polish. I think that in order to get this to the most queryable state, it will be really, really good to tear every word apart. So I'm really excited for that. And then the last goal is another one that ties back to the yearly goals, and that is to do an outline of Project Saint. So sometime in the next 3 months, I would like to finally sit down and outline Project Saint. I have been brainstorming it. It has been super, super exciting. I have some I think really good ideas that I've come up with recently that really excite me, and I feel like they're gonna make for a great story. So I'm excited to sit down and plot out this novel start to finish and see how everything that I've been imagining kind of comes together. I think it's going to be really fun. So this could be a very big help in getting that 30,000 word goal. So that was my little check-in for halfway through the year. I am kind of shocked that we're already halfway through the year. That's crazy, honestly. I am really proud of the progress that I've made so far this year. I think that I am really, really working towards making my writing dreams a reality, and hopefully by the time that I check in at the end of the year in another 6 months, I will have hopefully all of these goals done and hopefully I will be one step closer to traditional vacation. If you enjoyed this video, stay tuned for more. I mostly make vlogs, but I also do little update videos like this and occasionally little discussion videos. If you're interested in any of that, I would love if you checked it out. If you made it this far into the video, then leave me a watermelon emoji. I think there's a watermelon emoji. A watermelon or some kind of fruit emoji because it's summer now. And if you did make it all the way through this video, I appreciate you so much for watching. Thank you so much for being here. I hope you're having a great day and I will see you next time. Bye.